welcome to O-Level Physics Online. In this video, I'll be talking about the cost of electricity appliances that you use at home. To understand this concept, the first thing that you need to know that is that if you leave your light or bulb or any kind of appliances that you have at home, you leave them on for a particular time, there's going to be certain amount of money that's going to be deducted per unit. And I think everybody's aware that depending on the type of meter you are making use of, either prepaid or postpaid. If it is prepaid, then that one is going to, the amount of money they will give to you depends on the amount of energy that you make use of. And that's why people are rushing into getting prepaid meter. Why if it is postpaid, that one is just estimated bill most of the time they make use of. They just assume that, okay, at average, this is the amount of money you are going to make use of. But if you are using a prepaid meter, then it is very easy for you to manage the amount of electricity that you are making use of, and the process I'm going to explain now, or the calculation we are going to be doing now, will show us the way on which all the amount of money they are charging us are based on. So let's look at what you have. So to calculate the, or to work out how much a device costs, to calculate how much device, whether bulb you have at home, whether a refrigerator, whether it is a television set, whether it's your DVD set, or any kind of gadget that is making use of electricity that you have at home as consumed. The simple method we usually make use of, the formula we make use of is our cost of electricity is equals to power in kilowatt. This is very important point that you need to note here. Power in kilowatt multiply by time in hour, then multiply by cost per kilowatt hour. Now, what I mean by cost per unit kilowatt hour here is same thing as what amount of money are they charging you per kilowatt? What amount of money are they charging you per kilowatt? So that's what you need to take note under this one. Now, in summary, power must be in kilowatt in any calculation you are dealing with. Normal unit of power is watt. But if you want to calculate the cost of electricity, the unit they are making use of in their own if they tend to charge you is in kilowatt hour. So as such, your power must be in watt. The time given to you must be in hour. While the unit cost is going to be known to you. Actually, in Nigeria, currently the amount they are charging per kilowatt hour. Remember, per 1,000 watts hour. Remember, 1,000 watt hour is the same thing as 1 kilowatt hour. So the amount they are charging per kilowatt hour in Nigeria is 25 naira, approximately 24.7 something, which is approximately 25 naira. But for our calculation, we will not be making use of that precise amount. But if you want to do it, we will not be making use of that amount. But if you want to do your own calculation, you just want to do a little calculation of maybe one gadget you have at home and you tend to know the amount of money you are spending on it. Of course, you must know that the amount they are charging in Nigeria is 25 naira. So the simple formula we have is power in kilowatt multiplied by time in hour multiplied by cost per kilowatt hour, or unit cost as I'll be making use of. But what you just need to note, because you can see some other formula, that remember that power times time is the same thing as energy. Power times time is the same thing as energy. So if power times time equals to, the same thing as energy, automatically I can change what I'm having here. Power in kilowatt multiplied by time in hour, I can change it to energy, such that my formula in this case can change to the cost of electricity equals to energy in kilowatt multiplied by what? The rate they are charging, or cost per kilowatt hour or unit hour. So in summary, we can have two formula depending on what is given to you. You can have power times time times cost per kilowatt hour, or you can have it to be what? Cost of electricity equals to what? Energy in kilowatt hour. This is not supposed to be kilowatt. Please take note of that. Energy in kilowatt hour, then multiply by cost per kilowatt. Because I think I'm supposed to put H at the back of this one to show it in kilowatt hour. So these are the two main formula that we have under this one. So if you are solving any problem under this one, they can give you any other kind of quantity, but the most important thing is that note this fundamental formula. Power equals power in kilowatt multiplied by time in hour multiplied by cost per kilowatt hour. They can give you in days, they can give you time in days, in months, in years. So what you just have to note there is that you must convert them to hour, not seconds, when you are dealing with your solving. And for the, as regarding that of the cost, it will be given to you in the question. So let's look at some of the solved problem that we are having here and see the way it is being solved. The first question we have here is, if PHCN, Power Holding Company of Nigeria, they are charging 5 kobo per kilowatt hour. This is just based on calculation we have here. This is JAMB or UTM in 1978. If the amount, let's assume the amount they are charging is 5 kobo per kilowatt hour. This is what is given to us in the question. This is JAMB question. Now, what is the cost of operating for 24 hours a lamp requiring 1 amp on a 200 volt line. We are required to calculate the cost of operating for 24 hours. So time is given to us, unit cost is given to us. But one thing that can only be confusing is that we are given current to be 1 ampere and we're given volt to be 200 volt. Now, how am I going to do about this one? Let's state what is given to us one after the other. Now, if you look at it, the first quantity given to us in this question is unit cost. Unit cost or rate is given to us as 5 kobo per kilowatt hour. That's the amount they are charging. Now, the second thing that is given to us in the question is that we're given time, which is 24 hours, and that is what is given to us there. No need for conversion because it is given to us in hours that we need directly. Now, the next thing given to us is we're given electrical current, which is 1 ampere. Electrical current is given to us in 1 ampere, and we're given potential difference of volts to be in what 200 volts. These are the parameters given to us. Now, if you look at this, based on the formula that I mentioned to us before, unit cost is known, time is known, but we don't know the value for power. But based on the parameters given to us here, we can calculate the value of our power in this question. And how am I going to calculate the value of power? Remember, power is the same thing as electrical current multiplied by potential difference. My electrical current in the question is the same thing as 1 ampere. Why that of voltage or potential difference given to me as 200. So automatically I can simply calculate this one to be what? Power equals to 1 times 200, which will give me what? 200 watts. But remember I told us that the unit of power we are making use of under this topic must be in kilowatts. As such, if you are to solve this problem now, you're not just going to leave the value of it as 200 watts, you must convert it to kilowatts. And to convert to kilowatts, the simple step is you will divide the value of the answer you have in watts by 1000. So 200 divided by 1000 will give us 0.2 kilowatt hour. So all the three parameters that we need now has been known to us. The first one, which is unit cost, is 5 kilowatt. We have 5 kobo per kilowatt hour. Time is given to us as 24 hours, and we have gotten the value of power to be 0.2 kilowatt. So from this one, the cost of electricity, remember the simple shortcut I'll be making use of for you to remember is what? Is PTU. It is what? PTU. P, which is power, T, which is time, then U is same thing as unit cost. So PTU, that's what we're making use of under this one. Now, just substitute the parameter given to us in this case now. Power in the question is, we have gotten it to be 0.2 kilowatts. This is my 0.2. Time is in hour. The value of time is known already, which is 24 hours. We have known it already. Then U, which is unit cost, is the same thing as 5 kobo, based on what you have in the question. And multiplying this one together is going to give us 24 kobo like that. Remember I said the standard amount of money they are charging is 25 naira approximately. So don't go and find them fight PHCN officer because I'm using Kobo A. Of course, they are not charging 5 Kobo. What they are charging, remember this is Jam 1978, so the cost of them might be a bit low. And this is just a framed question, not necessarily interpreting the amount, the way they are doing their own at PHCN, but they follow the same process for their conversion. Now, the second question we have here is, what is the cost of running 550 watt lamps and 400-watt lamps for 10 hours if the electrical energy cost 2 kobo per kilowatt hour? This is also JAM or UTME 1984. Now, I'm citing all those questions because the recent question will follow the same format, the same suit when you are solving them. So you can check recent question for it. But the same approach that I'm making use of here, that's going to be the same approach you use in solving the recent one. And it's very, very common question. That's why I'm trying to explain it more in this video. Now, to solve this question, what are the parameters given to us? The first thing we have is, what is the cost of running 550 watt? The first thing you should notice is that unit cost is given to us as 2 kobo per kilowatt hour. That one is known to us. Then time is given to us. We are running the two gadgets mentioned here for how many hours? 10 hours. So time is 10 hours. No need for conversion. Good. Then the next thing we have to check is, if you want to check the amount of energy or power that you have consumed, the amount of power that you have consumed, the bulb might have used as a result of you lighting it, using 2 of them for 10 hours. We have how many lamp in this case? We have 5 lamps, and each lamp is rated 50 watts. Each lamp is 50 watts. So that shows that for the 5 lamp now, total amount of power you have for 5 lamps is going to be 5 multiplied by 50 watts, and that's what I'm having here. Also, there's another lamp that we are having. The rating or the power of that lamp is 100 watts, but they are 4 in numbers. So as such, total amount of hundreds that you have in the question is going to be 4 multiplied by 100. So don't interpret it as just 400 automatically, because it's not all the time that it's going to work like this. Like the first one, what I mentioned is 550 watt. That shows that you have 5 bulb. Each one of them is 50 watt. That doesn't mean that you're going to just write 550. So you should take note of that. So you just multiply the power given to you by the number that it is attached to you. That is 5 multiplied by 8. So in summary, from here now, 50 times 5 for the first lamp. Then we have 4 times 100 for the second lamps. So adding the two of them together, you're going to have 650 watts. And I told us already that the unit we are using when you are dealing with power under this topic must be in kilowatts, like I've mentioned to us already. So, and to convert it to kilowatts, what you just have to do in that case, simply divide what is given to you by 1000. And 650 watts divided by 1000 will give us 0.65 watts. So we have gotten the value of power. So two things that the three things that we are in need of has been sorted out now. The first one we have is unit cost, 2 kobo. The time is 10 hours. That one is known already. And we have the total power consumed. That is 0.65 kilowatt. So we can simply make use of a formula, and that formula is what? PTU. Don't forget PTU. So the power is what? 0.65. That one is known to us already. The time is 10 hours. That one is known to us already. And the unit cost is 2 kobo. So from here, we can multiply them up, and we are going to have our final answer to be same thing as 13 kobo. You can use your calculator to confirm whether the answer we have is correct or not. However, a point that I must still buttress here is that the time you are making use of, that I must still lay emphasis on rather, the time we are using under this topic is in hour. You are not making use of it in seconds. You are not making use of it in days. Whatever that is given to you in the question must be converted to hour before you start solving. So that's another what you must know again. Now the third question we have here. The third question we have here is a man uses 900 watts electrical iron. If you look at this one, the rating of this one is very, very high because most of the time electrical iron usually consume a lot of energy. So it consumes very, very much. So that is why you are seeing, even in this assumed question, the rating of it is very, very high. You can check your gadget at home, electrical iron at home, and check your bulb and compare the value that you have for the two of them. You notice that the rating, the power consumption for that of the electrical iron, it used to be very, very high. And simple reason is that it's doing two things. One, it's consuming electricity and it's converting it to what? Heat energy. And the hotter it is, the more the amount of energy is going to consume. So back to the calculation we have. A man uses 900 watt electrical iron to press his cloth for an average of 4 hours a week for 5 weeks. If the cost of electrical energy is 30 kobo per unit, calculate the cost of energy for pressing. Now, to solve this question, let us list out the parameter as usual. The first thing we have is the rating of the ion. The rating of the ion in this case is what? 900 watts. So we are given power in what? 900 watts. So convert 900 watts to kilowatt. I told you the unit of power must be in kilowatt. So that's going to be 0.9 kilowatt by dividing 900 by watt. Then the next thing we have is what? The time. Now, to get the time we have in this case, the question mentions that the man uses this iron to press his cloth for 4 hours in a week. 4 hours in a week. And the second thing we have is what? And he uses this iron for how many what? For 5 weeks. So what we have in this case now, we have 4 hours for how many weeks now? For 5 weeks, not daily. So 1 week he used 4 hours, second week 4 hours, third week 4 hours, fourth week 4 hours, then the fifth week 4 hours as well, making 5 weeks now. So that shows that the total amount of time he has spent making use of that iron is going to be 4 multiplied by total number of hours, number of weeks that we have, and that's going to be 4 multiplied by 5. So 4 times 5, that's going to give us 20 hours like that. So we have gotten the value of the power, we have gotten the value of time. Then the next thing we have is how much are they charging based on the question. Based on this one, they are charging 30 kobo per unit. 30 kobo per unit. So from this one, all you just have to note in this here is that our formula is what? PTU. So cost of the amount of energy it has consumed now, the cost for it is going to be PTU. The power in the question is 0.9. The time in the question is 20 hours, and the amount they are charging, which is unit cost, equals to 30. So multiplying this one together is going to give you 540 kobo. 540 kobo. However, you can have it in some questions, especially in UTME, to convert this amount of money you have gotten to naira. So remember, 1 naira is equivalent to 100 kobo. So you just divide the answer you're having here by 100, and that's going to be 5 naira 40 kobo. In case they ask you are having your answer in kobo and in naira and kobo. The fourth question we have here, the fourth question we have here is a man has 560-watt bulb and a 240 watt water heater in his apartment. If the bulbs and the heater are switched on for 4 hours daily, and the cost of electricity is 1 naira 20 kobo per kilowatt hour, calculate its cost or its bill for 30 days. This is NECO 2008. This is NECO 2008. Now let us list out the parameter one after the other as usual. Now looking at the question, we have a man has 560 watt. I think similar to one of the questions I have solved already. 560-watt bulbs. So, and we are having the second one, a 240-watt water heater. So for the total number of watt is using, the total number of watt is using or power is going to consume for 5 bulb. Ordinarily, for 5 bulb is going to be 60 watt multiplied by the number of bulb, which is 5. And that is 5 times 60 watt I'm having here. Then plus the second gadget that is making use of, and that is for water heater, that is at 240 watt. You add that is 240 I'm having in this case now. Then the next step you have to follow in this case is 5 times 60. That is going to give me a 300. Then the second one is 240 watt. So adding two of them together, the 200 you are going to see in this case, the 300 you have from 5 times 60 plus 240, that will give us 540 watt. Now convert 540 watt to the unit we are using under this topic, which is in kilowatt. So that's going to be 540 divided by 1000, which will give us 0.54, right? Now the next thing we have is time. If you look at this question, what we have in the question is that if the bulb and the heater are switched on for 4 hours daily, so every day they are using it for what? For 4 hours. And they use this thing for 30, we are required to calculate for 30 days, approximately for 30 days. What are we going to have for 30 days? So if it is being used for 4 hours daily, for 30 days is going to be what? 4 multiplied by the number of days. That is 4 multiplied by 30 days. And that's going to give us 120 hours in that case. 120 hours. In 30 days, we are using it for 4 hours. So you are going to have 4 multiplied by 30. So, and that will give us 120 hours. So from here, we have gotten the power is 0.5, or we have gotten the time, that is 120. And the cost, the amount they are charging is what? 1 naira 20 kobo per kilowatt hour. So that should our unit cost in this question is going to be 1 naira 20 kobo. So just remember our formula. If you can simply tell me before I write it down. The formula is, okay, the power, cost of energy cost to PTU. Don't forget PTU. So from this one, you're going to have the substitution again. If you substitute the value of power in the question is 0.54. That's what I'm having here. And you have the time at which he has used the two gadgets at home is 120 hours. Then the unit cost is 1 naira 20 kobo. 1 naira 20 kobo. So from this one, if you multiply them together, you're going to have 77 naira, then 76 kobo. And that is going to be the amount somebody would have used for this one. Remember I told you for the amount they are charging is 25 naira for Nigeria. So what I would just encourage you to do is that just try and look at one of the things, whether bulb, whether electrical iron you have at home, and see the amount you might have consumed for you to know the amount of energy or the amount of money you are spending as you are pressing your cloth at home. Now let's look at the next one, the fifth question that we have here. A household refrigerator is rated 200 watt. A household refrigerator is rated 200 watt. If the electricity cost is 5 kobo per kilowatt hour, what is the cost of operating it for 20 days? What is the cost of operating it for 20 days? So to solve this one, our usual step is state out the parameter given to you in the question. And the parameter given to us in this question are the first one. We have the power. Power is 200 watt. Remember our unit is in kilowatt. So you must convert this one to kilowatt. And that's going to be 0.2 kilowatt. Dividing the watt by 1000. Then the next one we have is what is the time actually he has consumed this electricity in this question. According to what you have here, it has been used for 20 days. But unit we are using is not 20 days. You must convert it to hours. But remember that for one day you have 24 hours. So convert 20 days to hours. Now that's going to be 20 days multiplied by the number of hours that you have in a day. And that's going to be 20 multiplied by 24 hours, which gives us 480 hours. Then the next thing we have is the unit cost in the question is 5 kobo. They are charging 5 kobo per unit, per kilowatt hour. So automatically, you can just substitute all the three parameters that we have known from this question there directly. The power in watt, the time in which is 20, the unit cost which is 5 kobo. So from this one, our formula is a PTU. Don't forget, cost of energy equals to what? PTU, power times time times unit cost. So from this one, you can have the value of your answer by simply substituting the value you have gotten already. Power in kilowatt, that is 0.2. Then time is 480 hours. Then we have unit cost is 5 kobo. So multiplying them together, you're going to have your total amount of money the person would have spent if they are charging it as 5 kobo per kilowatt to be equals to that's going to be same thing as 480 kobo after multiplying these two together. And you can convert it to naira by simply divided by 100. That's going to be 4 naira 80 kobo like that. And that is what you are required to do under this question. So thank you very much for watching. Just remember the simple step I gave to you if you want to solve it. The most important point in summary are the first one, if you are solving the problem, you must ensure that the unit of the power is in kilowatt, the time must be in an hour, and the unit cost will be given to you in the question. And take note of if they are mentioned maybe 5 of 3 kilowatt hour and so on like that, you must be very careful when you are converting your value. But another last important point is that we have the formula for calculating the cost of energy to be equal to what? PTU, power times time times unit cost, or energy in kilowatt hour multiplied by time. You are still going to have the same result, but I provide the PTU for you to remember the formula easily like that. So what I would just ask you to do, if possible, after you might have watched this video, is that just pick one of the gadgets you have at home. Pick any gadget, whether it is present iron, whether it is your television set or anything. Just try and look at the back of it. Most of the gadgets, it will be written at the back the amount of what you have at the back of it, which is the power, the rating of it will be written at the back of that. Most of the gadgets, even normal charger you have for your phone, it will be written there. So you can simply check it up and see the amount you have used. Because and note, if you are charging your phone for like 24 hours, or let's say for like 5, 6, 7 hours, you can easily check your charger, check the rating of that your charger one, then note that the amount of money they are charging in Nigeria per kilowatt hour is 25 naira, approximately 25 naira. So you can simply do your conversion for 25 hours, 25 naira multiplied by the unit, multiplied by the time. If you have charged for 4 hours, that's going to be multiplied by 4. Then multiply by the rating of your charger like that, which must be in kilowatt. So simply do that one, and let me see the amount of money you might have spent in your in the comment section. So thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe if you have watched this video, and click on the like button. And I will always encourage you to recommend this one for your friend, or if you have any other students studying for WAEC, NECO, or UTME